Welcome to the Bright Ideas Podcast.
I also like to do activities that I can get leverage. So I don't like to do something that will just give me the one thing. So I would never just be on your podcast. To be on your podcast is a single thing. But if I can now have your podcast linked to my media page of my two websites, if I can share that link 3 times on Facebook, 3 times on LinkedIn, 5 times on Twitter, if I can email the link with 3 or 4 other links to my speakers bureaus once a month, if once a quarter I can email 10 or 20 press articles that I've been in to all of my customers, if I can then buy ad traffic to it on Facebook, and so more people will see it, then I'm getting leverage off of this podcast. So everything I do, there has to be a lever opportunity for everything I do. Otherwise, I kind of say no to it.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
It's kind of like, as a single dad, when I make dinner for me and my kids, or if I just make dinner for me when my kids are at their mom's, I make dinner for 4 so that I have leftovers. Like if I'm going to make food, I may as well make too much of it, and then I'll packet it all up and I'll put it in the freezer, or put 1 in the fridge and 2 in the freezer. You know what I mean? Like there has to be leverage that time. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a concept called batching. There's a woman, Rachel Miller, who was the first person I heard speaking at the mastermind event. And she is a mother of 6 and is remarkably successful in business. When you think mother of 6, you think like, how would you have any time to do anything? And yet she's done quite well. And the secret for her is batching. So she blocks time and produces a bunch of content in one block where she blocks out everything else. And I'll tell you, having, always struggled, some people obviously who listen to me think, oh man, you produce a lot of content, but I always think that I don't produce enough content. And it's just a huge challenge to try and get it all done. And this concept of batching, which I've since adopted, has definitely been very, very helpful in that regard.
Yeah. Batching and then also outsourcing, right? It needs to get done, but not by us.
Yeah.
There's a lot of freelance. It's Dan Sullivan and Ben Hardy just wrote their new book, Who. It's not a how do I do this problem. It's who can do this for me problem.
Yeah.
Right. So I coach this woman, Suzanne Evans, who she actually runs a coaching program, and she's got like hundreds and hundreds of people that are in her coaching program. I was coaching her, and she sits down at the beginning of her week on Sunday night, and she creates a list of all the stuff she needs to do that next week. So she has this long list, and then she thinks about how many hours or minutes will each project take. And then she delegates 80% of the list before she checks a single email or works on a single project. It's fucking brilliant. She literally delegates 80%, and all she works on is the 20% that she loves doing and is high enough leverage for her. So it needs to get done, not by us.
That's a mistake, man, because I've coached not nearly as many people as you, not even close, but I've done a decent amount of coaching. And that is the biggest thing that I see entrepreneurs doing. And you said it earlier, if you don't have an assistant, you are the assistant. I see folks trying to do everything themselves. Just about an hour ago, my wife sent me one of our latest blog posts, and I looked at it and I thought, man, I said to her, I go, did you write this? And she goes, no. And I said, this is a brilliant post. Like, who wrote this thing? And where did we get all the graphics? And she goes, well, we use this writing service, and your executive assistant from Mexico, who we pay a whopping $6 an hour, she did all the graphics and da 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 da. And it was a really badass post. And the whole thing cost us like $110 plus maybe 2 hours of my wife's time.
So check this one out now. I just learned about, so I'm trying to jump over the who. I'm trying to go over to the next, like what's the most efficient who to delegate to? And it's a computer. It's AI. So there's a tool.
We talked about this on text the other day.
Copy.ai.
Dude, so tell me about that.
Mind blown. So Copy.ai is built off of, I'm not sure which AI tool it's built off of, but let's say it's built off of Google's AI platform. They've downloaded 10% of the internet and 100% of Wikipedia into this platform. So you can go on and you can type up, like, let's say I put in COO Alliance, the only network of its kind in the world for the second in command, or a mastermind group for second in command, and press enter. It will start spitting out subject lines and blog copy and post copy and Instagram copy just off of those two things from match. And now some of it is gibberish, but some of it is like, shit, really good. And maybe it gets you to 80 or 90%, and you have to tweak it, right? Like it might say, you know, Trent is the founder of the CO Alliance. No, Cameron is. Like you have to kind of edit a couple of things, but it's pretty incredible how you can pull this stuff together. So an example of what I do when I interview guests on my Second in Command podcast, it just automatically, as soon as the podcast is done, the files automatically get uploaded to Dropbox from Zoom. My team in Israel takes the podcast episode and does all the post-production. They then push it up on Blueberry and it goes out on all the networks, but it also then triggers to get sent over to the team that puts it out on YouTube and caption it. And then it gets sliced into snackables for Twitter and blogs and Instagram. So all that stuff just happened using, what's it called? Repurpose.io. So there's sites that will take all this and repurpose it and have it ready. And then my team can sit down and say, you know, yes, edit, yes, edit. And as long as for me, what's being put out has the right graphic overlay, which I just sign off on, it's good to go. So each of my podcast episodes takes me 1 hour to produce, but all of that content that happens either automatically or outsourced is where all my content comes from.
Mine's the same way. Absolutely. Right? I was actually just thinking of some things the other day, to ways to enhance it even further. So we've got much the same process as you. I've got an editor that does all the editing. They then will take a bunch of clips out of it and turn those into little Instagram feed posts that are short video clips to promote the episodes. And we'll put those on Twitter as well. We get a transcript done. So if there's obviously if people want to read it, they can read it. We've got the YouTube video that is, because, you know, obviously I record in video format. Something that we're going to experiment with, and I wonder if you've tried, is, and this is one of the guys I follow on Twitter, @Julian. I can't remember his last name, but he's super well known. If you just type in @Julian, he's like, take the video portion of your podcast and chop it up into 8-minute clips, and then find some SEO title that represents whatever is the best piece of content in that little 8-minute clip, rather than just posting your whole episode as like a 40 or 50-minute episode as one video. Maybe in replacement of or in addition to, and he didn't specify, so we're testing both, you know, chop this up into a bunch of shorter videos to see if you can get more views in aggregate than you could off the one video. Have you experimented with that at all?
We're doing that in a way. Yeah. We're getting 2 to 3 minute clips from each podcast episode. And then we're running those on the Facebook pages and we're boosting them or buying traffic to them. And we're also posting them on LinkedIn, and we're doing them on Instagram Reels, I think, or Instagram Stories. I think it's Instagram Reels, and LinkedIn Stories. So we are, and then we're captioning them all as well, because what we're finding is that people on their phones aren't sitting in their office doing work or wherever they are, and they're kind of reading the content. They're in the doctor's office, and so we're captioning everything as well. And I think we use, is it Scipio? Maybe, I don't remember who we're using for the captioning.
Yeah, we're captioning as well. And I don't even know, because again, when you get a team, when you get systems and a team in place, you don't have to be down in the weeds on all this stuff.
Well, and remember, like, so a couple parts on a team, or let's say you just need someone to do things. First off, like, don't say to yourself, oh, that's going to be $60,000 for that person this year, because you may not need a full-time person. You might only need somebody like 4 hours a week or 10 hours a week. So now it's like $30 an hour times 10 hours a week. Now it's $300 a week. That all of a sudden got affordable, right?
Yeah.
Or even if it is full-time, let's say you're hiring a full-time executive assistant and it's going to be $50,000. Not all today. You're not paying her $50,000 right now.
Yeah.
You're paying her $4,000 a month. You're paying her $1,000 a week. It's like, oh shit, I can afford $1,000 a week. Yeah. And imagine if you were paying her $1,000 a week, how much more you would get done to pay for that $1,000. So we often get trapped in the overall annual cost of something. But when you pay it out over the course of 12 months, all of a sudden it's irresponsible not to do it.